Buongiorno. We're here in Italy, more specifically the Dolomites, named after, of course, the famous Triumph Dolomite. And we're here to ride Yamaha's Tracer 700, which is based heavily on the MT7, Yamaha's new sports tourer middleweight. And if it's like the MT7, anything like the MT7, then we're in for a treat. Woohoo! Yeah, it's good! I love the MT7. Now that bike shouldn't be that much fun and offer that much performance for just over £5,000. And you know, it's simple. There's no major tech on it, but it's just a really good, fun bike. And Yamaha, after years of making XJ6s and phasers, and you know, which they were good, they were practical, they did alright, but you know, I think I'd rather watch paint dry than ride one of them. You know, they lacked any real fun factor, and yeah, they were good bikes, but they weren't anything special. And Yamaha have tweaked onto the fact that inline 4 cylinders don't necessarily give the right performance for a naked bike. So, and the MT series is stunning. It's absolutely stunning. I'm not alone in thinking the MT7 is a fantastic bike. I think it was the third best-selling bike in Europe. Oh, that's a bit wet. Last year, I think 95,000 units were sold. So anyway, we're here. This is the Tracer 700, and it's based heavily on the MT7. So really, Yamaha can't go wrong, can they? Really? 6249, which is silly money. I mean, yeah, there's nothing exotic on it. There's nothing too trick. There's nothing amazing technology-wise, but you know, it's got that MT7 base, so Yamaha really couldn't get it wrong. I just kind of like the styling. You know, it's not as sharp as the MT09, I don't think. But they've managed to make a sports tourer look half decent. I think it's not a bad little job. I'm not too sure on these little piss flaps, but there we go. So same engine, Euro 4 compliant now. Same fundamental chassis. The swing arm is 50mm longer. There's a new linkage and changes to suspension, damping, and spring rate. Gearing is the same, and that is about your lot. But it's that intangible aspect that goes along with this engine. I mean, it's just so much fun. No matter who you are, no matter how good you are, no matter how new you are to bikes, this engine is fun. It's so simple, yet Yamaha have made it. It feels not. It doesn't feel like a normal twin. You know, that uneven firing order and the cross-plane philosophy, without getting too deep into the marketing hype. It's really, really good. There's power anywhere you want it in the rev range, anywhere you want it, and it's just it's silken at the bottom, lovely. Yeah, it feels a bit arcade-like and digitalized compared to normal V-twins and other twin cylinders, but it's just, whoa, you bell end. But it's unique and I like it. And yeah, suspension feels good as well. It's obviously it's been tweaked. It's nice. Handles bumps well. The MT07 suspension, I think, was its weak point. It felt cheap and a bit nasty and just lacked. Oh fuck me! It lacked any sort of progression in the stroke, and yeah, it just felt a bit cheap. But this is alright. I like this. You know, it's still budget. This bike costs £6,249. It's incredible. Cyclists aren't incredible. Dash is nice. Gear position indicator. fuel gauge, which is always nice, a clock. Yeah, so obviously being a 700 and a fairly budget sports touring, it didn't have traction control. There's no traction control, there's no electronics at all apart from obviously ABS, and being a 2016/17 model, it's Euro 4 compliant, although there's no changes to the power curve from the MT7, so that is all good under my hood. And it doesn't need it, you know. The throttle connection for a ride-by-wire and all that jazz, the throttle connection is just beautiful. Oh, I love it! I love it! I genuinely love this motor and platform. You know, the XSR 700, the MT7, and now this. It's fucking awesome. Now, it pains me to say this. It really does, trust me, because I'm a sports bike nut through and through. But obviously the market's changing. The naked bikes and adventure bikes and sports touring sectors coming to prominence, and you know, younger riders are looking for something else. They're looking for a bit more versatility. And a mate of mine, James, who you probably would have seen on the on my race videos, I think he's 22 years old, 23, and he's got an F800 GS at that age. I mean, if I had an F800 GS when I was 22, I would have been stoned to death by my mates. But as you can see, you know, it hustles. It's It's based on the MT7. It's not going to disappoint you. It does. It's lovely and light. All the weight feels in the right place. It's times like this you wish you picked one-piece levers and sliders rather than jacket and jeans, but hey ho, City & Co. At some point I'll put the road route, the route of today, on the interwebs on 44teeth.com, so you can have a look, because it is just amazing. Whoa, that was wet. Bit like your mum. The engine belittles its its capacity. It really shouldn't be this much fun, and you know, even up here in these mountains, it feels strong. The motor feels good. It doesn't wheelie as much as the MT7. Gearing is the same, but of course you've got this massive frontal area here, and of course we're 2,000 meters up, 3,000 meters up, which saps horsepower. So you couldn't want for any more on these mountain roads. It's flickable, it's light, it's nimble, it's super stable. I'll just keep chucking superlatives at it until I'm bored. Oh, rev bomb. I mean, yes, there's the argument that, you know, it's not a big bike, and you want a bit more power here and there, especially for, you know, longer distances and a bit of fun time. But it goes back to the same old argument. There's a lot to be said for bashing the throttle bodies of a smaller capacity bike and getting the most out of it. And it is, you know, with the mid-range and the torque on tap, rarely do you want more. Why can you never trust a fart on a motorcycle? Is it the vibrations relaxing the sphincter muscles? I don't know. What is it? I genuinely would love to know. Obviously there's a massive biological aspect in there somewhere that I don't know about. Yeah, it's only when you start dialing in superbike type lean angles that you get any issues, but otherwise the chassis is absolutely sublime, absolutely stunning. You couldn't do this on a sports bike. You can't, they haven't got the agility and the nimbleness of this thing. Now again, you know, you can't load either end like a Hero, and yeah, it probably hasn't got the edge grip, but you know, 95% of riders won't be fussed about that. And the thing is, it's so versatile. You know, it's got enough in its armoury to please the more experienced. Yeah, as with the MT7, you know, it's got bags of user friendliness, and I'd happily put my grandmother on one, and she's never ridden a bike before. I think my only real issue, and again, it's not even Yamaha's fault, is the exhaust note. It just sounds a little bit, you know, it's Euro 4 compliant, it's been dulled down, it's not as beefy or as throaty as the MT07, and you know, I can hardly hear it, which is a byproduct of fucking Brussels and shitty EU suits making these rules up. Steady, mate. So we've got a man down. Wave, Michael. In probably the world's freakiest motorcycle accident, Michael's pulled his hamstring while trying to change a camera on a bike. How unlucky do you get? You can't do skids because you can't take the ABS off because it's bloody Euro 4. But you can do wheelies, obviously. It hasn't got anti-wheelie. And you can do stoppies because the ABS isn't as intrusive as some agricultural system. So, win. Win-win. So yeah, in terms of competition, F800 GS BMW? Nah. No thanks. Nice, steady, safe motorcycle, but nowhere near the amount of fun, or I'm going to use a C word here, character as this. What else we got? V-Strom 650. Yeah, another more traily, less sports toury type. Sorry, more tourer, less sporty. Shit. Gotta love a rev bomb. Rev bomb, you're my rev bomb. Another thing I forgot to mention was the fact that it comes on a 180 rear tyre. Comes with a 180 rear tyre, a la MT07, which, you know, for a bike in this class is nice, and it's also rare because, you know, the 160s, you know, they're help handling and flickability and all sorts, but they're a bit sparrow-limbed and you get a limited choice of tyres. So yeah, love the 180, love it. Oh yeah, baby. So we just stopped at a lake. Looks like something out of the island. Is it? No, the beach. The beach. The beach. Yeah. Beautiful. So I've been thinking of ways to summarise the Tracer 700, and yeah, I mean, given its MT07 base, and Yamaha really couldn't go that wrong, and they haven't, thankfully. I suppose it's like putting a lingerie model in clothes. You're still going to get the exact same performance and fun factor and sexy chassis with some clothes on.